Well done. So the apparently looks like this interview is being recorded. So tell me, what is your name first of all, and where are you from?
All right, Franco. My name is Joan Andres Gallego Vera, and I am from Armenia, Quindío.
Thank you, sir. And how did you get into the education field, or how did you become interested in teaching?
Oh, all right. All started when I was a teen because I used to study in La Normal Superior High School, and you already know that that is a pedagogical school. So we are trained to be teachers in the future. And that's when I started to be interested in teaching. And then I went to the university, La Universidad del Quindío, and I studied modern languages. And right now, as you already know, I'm an English teacher in here in Ocaña.
Okay, that's very good. So you've been born to be a teacher. I congratulate you.
Yeah,
So
thank you. Thanks.
where are you teaching right now?
As I already said, I'm here in Ocaña, north of Santander, and I'm working in La Salle High School.
Ah, okay, great. How long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for 6 years. I started being a teacher in 2014.
Okay, good. Tell me about the ways you have taken to foster autonomy in your students.
To be honest, it sometimes is a little bit hard because the population I handle in my public institution, it's a hard population. You know, they are people who come from El Catatumbo, so they are not really interested in getting or in being educated. So it's a bit difficult to get every student or every learner to be like self-regulated in learning English. That is my case. But what I try or what I do is to apply funny activities in which those students get involved into the learning process. For example, I created a YouTube channel in which I provide English explanations in Spanish for them in order to make them easy to get the idea of what we are learning at the moment. Then I try to use some games that, for example, in this year that involves the internet. So in order to acquire more vocabulary, so funny games that they can find on internet easily. And in that way, sometimes I like poster my students to work with free topics, so they can choose any topic they like or they are really focused on. For example, if we are working on present simple tense, they can use their daily routines, or they can write easy paragraphs on topics that they like. For example, sports. So some guys talk to me about soccer, or there was a guy in this year that he is really fan of trucks. So he make a paragraph talking about trucks. My dad is a driver, so I would like to be a driver like him, and my dream is to drive a truck like him, and so on. So that's the way like I try to use activities in which they can develop themselves the self-interest in this learning process.
I understand that, Mr. Gallardo, is quite interesting. All what you have done, fostering, motivation, and all of these activities you have mentioned. That is very convenient right now to foster autonomy, which is something we are going to talk a little bit in this interview. So
All right.
let's go with this. Can you describe the kind of students you work with? You mentioned before that is a
Yeah.
very complex, context, and it's quite complicated to work with this kind of population. But what
Yeah.
else can you tell us about them?
All right. As I already told you, the population I have in that public institution is really hard or really tough because they come from El Catatumbo. The majority of them come from El Catatumbo. I could say that like 80% of the students have a really difficult situation in their family. So they were people who move out from their towns because of the violence, and they come here with dysfunctional families in which, okay, I live with my grandma because my dad was murdered or my mom was murdered, or I don't know my dad. I only live with my mom, or I come here in the morning to study, but in the afternoon I have to work because I have to bring money to my home because my for my little brothers, for example. So that's the kind of population I handle in that institution. And that's why I told you that sometimes it's difficult to foster the self-regulation in those kind of students because they are not thinking or they are not focused on learning. They are more focused on getting money because of my family, because I need to eat something, because I have to pay my bills, because of the housing and so on.
Yes, this is very complex situation, and as far as I can see, the great, you know, opportunity they will have in this life under these, bad circumstances is education, and certainly
Yeah.
it depends on institutions and sometimes on the methods we use to let them know that this is the best way to stay out of all of this negative environment.
Yeah, for example, unfortunately, when I went to those classrooms, maybe if you have any chance in the future to go there and ask them as well, how many students would like to go to the university? Like 4 or 5 students raise their hands, but the rest of students are not focused on that. They are more focused on working, or they are more focused on developing their careers, but focusing, for example, in the sports field, or 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 maybe in illegal business.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, yes, so unfortunately, that's the kind of population we have in there.
So it's you have a good opportunity to you know to offer your intellectuality in all your service as a teacher in order to promote self-regulation and autonomy. Because if you are able to do that with your students or under this, reality, it will be very significantly for the society and for them.
Yeah, yeah, but I know that, and sometimes they are like very honest with us as a teachers, and sometimes I feel that we became into a model for them to be followed. And
Hmm.
there are a couple students who have told me that, hey, teacher, I love you because you are the only person who have told me all the time that I have to go on with my life to study, to be a better person because I only live with my grandma, or I live alone, and I have no families or relatives that support me like the way you do. And the way I support them is only by telling them good things like, hey, you are nice. Maybe you fail this activity, but it doesn't mean that you are a bad student. You can do it better, And sometimes when they improve themselves, I said to them, "Hey, I'm proud of you. Congratulations!" And those kind of words that for me maybe it sometimes is not like a big or a big thing. For them it is. And
Hmm.
we sometimes don't realize that, but for them it's like, wow, he loves me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the way, that's like another way in which I can like motivate them to go on by studying in the school, and don't drop out.
What a great news you're offering today in this interview, because that is what education should do, especially here in our countries. Um, allow our students to respect teachers and certainly teacher must be a model. Okay, talk about the teachers. Let's see how are the perspectives regarding self-regulation and autonomy by the teachers. And we have here a result of form. It was a questionnaire
All right.
that, in which we're going to discuss a little bit. I'm sharing right now my screen. Can you see it?
Now, to be honest,
Okay,
we are
let
a black screen.
okay, let's wait me while this internet service allowed us to upload this information.
All
Okay,
right.
yes. What I'm going to do is to share the results of the questionnaire, which was about self-regulation and autonomy.
All right. I got them in my smartphone. I don't know if there is a problem if it doesn't appear in my laptop.
Okay, great. So let's start. In the first
Yes.
image you got there, we can see that there is a statement that says that language learners of all ages can develop learner autonomy. So in this statement, we can see that more than consider 62% of the teachers consider that language learners of all ages, including kids, young and adult, can develop learner autonomy, but 37.5% considerable result are not sure. Why do you think teachers are unsure about this assertion?
Well, I think personally that sometimes we as a teachers commit a mistake that we are only or we are most of the times ruled by the rules of the English language, you know. And when sometimes the students start like they're learning by themselves with that self-regulation and self-motivation, they maybe can develop a language with some grammar mistakes, you know. Maybe I think because of that reason we sometimes say that we are unsure that they cannot develop that autonomy to learn. But the important thing here for me is if they can learn through anything they would like to do it, they will do it. You know, for example, if I like to listen to music, why not to learn English by listening to music? And sometimes we as a teachers, if we demand something like, for example, you have to read this, and if there is a kid that doesn't like to read, why we have to force him to read? Why we don't like or why we don't look for another strategy to go beyond with that student? So for me personally, I think that it is because of that.
Very interesting conception about this, Mr. Gallardo. Um, let's move on to the other result. Right here, it says that your students keep track on their progress toward goals. You see here the image, the opinions are divided. In
Yeah.
this spot, the majority of the teachers contemplate that their students are aware of how they are going, how are they doing toward their own goals. But some took a different view of choosing disagreement and others are unsure. What is your reaction to this perspective?
Well, I think is like half and half, because for example if we are working with kids, we have to be in there always involving the learning process for the kids, you know. So we have to be like saying all the time what they have to do. But maybe if we work with teenagers like 10th or 11th graders here in our country, they can be more like self-regulated, you know. So they can choose their own, or they can, I'm sorry, they can set their own goals. Like a teacher, and they have told me that, teacher, I would like to speak, or teacher, I would like to read more, or I would like to get more vocabulary. So they set their own goals, in order to go or to get more and more information about the English language and to learn more, because they are always like looking for improvement. But if you talk to a kid of primary school, he is not going to tell you like, teacher, I would like to talk about sports today. Maybe you can find one or two students, but in my context, especially if you are not like follow or like telling the student all the time what they have to do. Hey, you have to do this, you have to draw this, you have to picture this, you have to write this. They don't do anything, you know?
Yes, they depend on on rules and orders. Unfortunately, they are not
Yeah,
independent. That's a reality we have to deal with.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's see this assertion. It says your students are able to accomplish goals on time. Yes, and certainly here we have, unfortunately, we don't have this culture
Yes,
to be
yes.
punctual. Yeah. So in this
Eh,
place, 75% think that their students are able to accomplish goals on time, but there are different views. 25% are in disagreement with that. How do you feel about this?
Well, as you already said, we have a problem here in our Colombian context that they can do it. Yes, they can, but they don't like to do it. You know,
Yeah,
they are like all the time, like waiting for us as a teachers to be like on top of them, like saying, hey, you have to do this. Give me the presentation, or give me the worksheet, or you have to speak, or you have to sing this song, or yes, but they are not like, hey teacher, on my own I download these lyrics and I would like to sing it in the class. Or oh my god, no, I've never had that kind of student, you know. But it is because for something cultural of ours. Yes. So
yeah,
I agree that they don't present their tax on their own. We have to be always in there, like reminding them, hey, you have to do this. Remember that for tomorrow it's the English test, or remember that you have to write an easy and a short paragraph for next week. Or yes, but unfortunately that's our culture, you know.
yeah.
And we cannot do something different in that context or in that situation.
That's totally true. Okay, let's check this. As soon as your students see a problem or challenge in the tasks you assign, they start looking for possible solutions. Here, the opinions of the teachers say that 62.5 consider their students are problem solvers. In contrast, others are unsure and others do not think so. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I have really few students that are problem solvers. The rest of them, I could say that like a 90% of my students, always in my classrooms, one or two students are the ones who like highlight about the others, you know. Like a teacher, I already finished, check if everything is okay, or I would like to talk to you in English, or yes, something like that. But when they face a problem in English, what they do is to wait for me as a teacher to tell them what they have to do. Yes. For
Yeah,
example, if they don't understand something like a phrase in English, an English phrase or an English sentence, they don't have the self motivation to take a dictionary and look up all the words they don't know. So they are always like waiting for me, like, teacher, can you translate this for me, please? Or
mhm,
what is the meaning of this word? But why are you asking me if you have the tools in your hands? You know?
yeah,
Yes, and unfortunately, I think that it is because we said or we discussed in the previous question, because it is something cultural we have in here with those kind of students.
yes. That's amazing when they have everything already set, but they don't understand. Probably because of their lack of attention,
Yes,
or
and they can
because they
and
get distracted very easily or something like that.
they can have all the tools like a smartphone with an internet connection, and they don't use it.
Yeah.
Yes, like waiting for our instructions as teachers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see this. It says most of the time your students don't pay attention to what they are doing. Look, this is linked to the other assertion. Here, 50% of teachers' opinion regarding students' attention are in disagreement about most of the time students don't pay attention or what they are doing. Tell me if your student, excuse me, tell me if students really deal with special care when they are developing an activity. Learning activities draw enough interest to allow students focus their full attention to what they are doing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they never pay attention, you know.
Yeah.
There are some funny situations in which I can spend like 5 or 10 minutes like saying or giving them the instructions about what they have to do, or explaining the new topic we are studying or we are getting involved into. And when I give like an instruction like, okay, make couples to work, teacher, and wait, what do we have to do? Why we have to make couples? But I already said it. I just said it. Ah, no, I'm sorry, I didn't pay attention. Oh my God. Yes.
Yes.
And unfortunately, as you said, it is linked to all, to the two previous questions. I don't know why they have all the time, and not only in English, but I think it's in the majority of subjects they study in a public school or in a private school, even in private schools, because I also have worked in private schools and I have the same problem, you know.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, as I already told you, maybe one or two students are the one who are aware of what they are doing. And I have had those kinds of situations in which sometimes, because we as a teachers, we are not machines, we are human beings, and we can commit mistakes as well. Hey, teacher, this word is bad written, or it is wrong, you know. And when I check, oh yes, I committed a mistake. I'm sorry. It is the way you have to write this word is like this, because I'm a human being, you know. And oh my God, but when I provide those kinds of activities in which I, as a teacher, committed a mistake, only one or two students are the one who realize about the mistake. The other continue working and writing or speaking, and they never realize that there was one or two exercises with mistakes. Yes,
Yeah.
and, and I agree to say that they are not aware about or they never pay attention about what they are doing, and not only in English, as I already told you.
Yes, communication is challenging still, no matter what kind of language we speak, but
Yes,
it's still very complicated. Probably we have to wait the future if we
yeah,
can connect
and
telepathically
that,
with people.
and that's a funny situation that sometimes in my public schools, I the majority of the moment of the class, I speak in Spanish in order to clarify everything about the English language. And even in Spanish, they don't get the idea of what they have to do.
Yeah, that tends to
Now,
happen all
now
the
in
time.
English.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this? It says when your students get behind on their work, they often give up. And look at this. Look at the perception of the teachers. I am tempted to think that this is a very worrying result. Only 62.5% of the teachers consider that the students don't easily give up when they are behind on their work. Tell me, if our students don't yield control or possession on what they are doing, how can they be autonomous?
All right. About if they give up, I agree in that statement or in that assertion. sometimes when they don't know what they have to do or they never pay attention, they do nothing, you know. And what I have or try to do is to work like individually with those kind of students. Sometimes it's very like frustrating for me as a teacher because you know that one of the biggest problems we have here in Colombia in the public education is that we have classrooms with more than 40 students per classroom. And
Mhm.
even in my public institution, I have had classrooms with 50 or 51 students. And when the majority of them, if I'm in a 50 students classroom and the majority of them, let's say more than 40 students don't pay attention, it is going to be really, really difficult for me to work one by one individually, yes, explaining everyone what they have to say or what they have to do or what they have to read. Yes, sometimes it's very as I already told you, frustrating for me as a teacher, and it's very exhausting as well. Uh, and they always, in those cases, give up.
Mhm.
What I have to do is to try to motivate them. Hey, don't give up. This is an easy task. This is not difficult. Ah, teacher, but it is English. As they say in Spanish, "Ahora apenas hablo español." I know that you speak Spanish because that's your native tongue, but but you can do it. If you speak Spanish, you can also speak English. Why not? If I speak English, why you can't? I don't have two heads or I don't have four arms. I'm not a monster. I'm not an ovni. Yes, I'm the same human being you are. Why you can't do it? Don't establish like limits or boundaries for yourself. You can go beyond there. Yes. And
Yeah.
sometimes I motivate one or two or three or maybe five students with those words, but the rest, like, ah, no, I'm not going to do anything. If you want to grade me or to mark me with a zero, do it. Oh my God. Well, what I have to do in that case is like, come here, let's talk. Don't be rude with me. It's not my fault. Maybe if you are having a bad day, or maybe you have a family discussion before coming to the school, or yes, because we have to take into account that it is not that those students, as I told you, they are not focused only on learning, but they are always thinking on I'm here without breakfast, I'm starving, I have to work after the classroom, I have to go in at night to work in a parking lot. Maybe I have those kind of students, and it's going to be like frustrating for them as well.
Yes, that is important. And yeah, it's going to be quite complicated for us human beings, as you said, to change their minds if they have already built up a wall in front of them. And
Yeah.
certainly that is going to be, you know, out of this world, um, endeavor. Let's check this. Involving learners in decisions about what to learn promotes learner autonomy. What do you think? This result strikes me. Involving learners in decisions about what to learn promotes autonomy. All teachers promote this statement. What is your reaction to this?
Well, in one of the previous questions, I told you, I thought it was in my introduction, that sometimes I try to make them choose a free topic, and I have felt that they are motivated with those kind of activities. When sometimes we as teachers tell them they have to talk only, for example, today's topic is abortion. Let's talk about it. And maybe you don't know if they really like those kind of topics or discussions. They are not going to feel like comfortable with the class. But when sometimes I tell them, okay, you have to write a short paragraph about what, teacher? No, you are free to choose your topic. Ah, can I talk about video games? Or can I talk about soccer? I practice soccer and I would like to talk about it. Yes, do it. Do it, but in English. Tell me anything, but in English. Oh, okay. And they are, and I have felt that, and I see that they are more motivated about it. Sometimes, for example, the last activity before all this about the pandemic, I did in the public school with those students. It was a friso. Yes, it was like a kind of pamphlet in English in which they have to like narrate their lives with topics they would like to talk. Yes, and they make draws, they color those draws, they wrote short sentences in English, and they have the freedom to draw, and to color with whatever they want to do it. And they were like happy in that classroom, and it was a really nice environment that I felt in that class. So sometimes I feel that when they are free to talk about anything they would like to do it, they are going to be more motivated about that self motivation about that self regulation at the moment of learning, in our case, the English language.
Yes, very interesting. Certainly, we have to consider this kind of strategies, and certainly, why not to use them over this remote teaching, and probably that are going to work. Okay, finally, the learner's autonomy is promoted through activities which give learners opportunities to learn from each other. Yes, like cooperation. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about cooperative learning?
All right. I think it's a good strategy. Sometimes I use it in my classrooms or in my classes because there are some students that they are really not let's say like bad students, but they are the kind of students that have difficulties at the moment of learning English. Yes, you know that we have the theory of the multiple intelligences, that sometimes some students develop more the music skill or the sport skill, or yes, but and there are some students that are really nice in mathematics, but they are not as nice or good students in English. And the opposite, I have students that in English they are the best, but let's talk to a Spanish teacher or to a mathematics teacher, no, that's the worst student they have, you know. And when I make teams to work, let's say working couples or working groups of 3 or 4 people, I try to make groups in which I have one nice and excellent student with 2 or 3 students that they are really not as good as that student is, like a leader in that team. So I agree with that. When sometimes we work in groups, we can learn and we are more like motivated to learn.
Yes, that's correct. Even more with this, changing times. What we have seen that cooperation is the key to thrive. Otherwise, we are going to be, you know, in more trouble. Okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
stop sharing my screen, and as I'm just asking you the last questions regarding, the current situation with this remote teaching. And well, my final questions are focused on getting to know more about the current education challenge for the health emergency. I'm interested in your experience and beliefs as a teacher, especially in this remote teaching adverse reality. So tell me, how are you dealing with the challenges of this remote teaching?
Uh, well, Franco, at the beginning it was really hard, to be honest. I feel that we were not prepared for this kind of situation. As okay, we as teachers maybe are prepared to handle technology. I have a smartphone, I have laptop, I have video games. We can handle and we can work with many different apps, yes, that are download about in our case or in our situation about the English learning process, but we never use them like every single day, all the time with different people at the same time. And when the moment arrives, and in that forced way, like we have to do it in this year, it was really, really stressing and shocking. And not only for me, I think that for the majority of teachers and people all over the world, you know, and
Exactly.
that's why maybe some of the teachers, and when I say some, I mean a lot of teachers, they get sick. Yes, they started like suffering of stress, of heart diseases, even heart diseases, because I have a friend who had like a kind of heart attack about it. So it was very worrying at the beginning, like, oh my God, what is going on? Yes. But then like when we like getting involved into these applications management, and to start working and especially talking to those students, because the stress not was only for us but also for the students, you know, because they have to face
Absolutely.
that reality too. And hey, please don't stress, don't stress yourself, and don't stress me. Yes,
Mhm.
because this is a very difficult situation, not only for you but for me too. Yes. And when we started like looking for the best strategies for them, as I already told you, I created my own YouTube channel about the English learning, and it started like being like easily for them and easily for me. So looking for those kind of strategies is like starting like oh my god, like more in a very soft way, like okay, I'm more relaxed right now. This is working. I realize that my students are learning a little bit more, because it is not the same to be in a high school that to be in front of a laptop, you know, or maybe in front of a smartphone, only listening to audios that the teacher sends me, but I'm not looking at the teacher. I don't know if my teacher is happy, if my teacher is angry. I don't know if he is sick. I don't know how he is, how he feels. And even my students, I don't know if my students are okay. I don't know if they are happy with my classes. Yes, because of the time, we don't have the enough time to talk about all those kind of situations. And that's it. Like at the beginning it was really hard, but right now I get used to it. And of course I hope to go back next year to school, because I prefer to be there with my students, like to be in front of a smartphone or to be in front of a laptop. Yes, but if we have to continue like that, okay, I do it. I have no problem with that. But it is obviously not the same like to be in there face to face with all the students in order to help them out in the learning process.
Definitely, Mr. Gallego. And no doubt that all of us have suffered the consequences of, not being trained before
Yeah,
to face this kind of, um,
because
reality.
I think sometimes we are like, okay, we may receive a speech about it. Maybe you have to be prepared for this situation, but it never happens, you know? Here's a result from
Mhm.
the web. But I'm sorry. But when the situation comes, you are like blocked. You are like, oh my God, what I have to do right now in this situation? How I'm going to respond to that for example, to that educational problem right now.
Mhm.
But I am a guy that says or that thinks that through experience we can learn more and more than
Right.
by theory.
It's definitely. Okay, sir. I would like to thank you once again for your time and for being willing to participate in this interview. I must tell you that this interview has been very helpful for my study. Would you tell me your final thoughts about autonomy and self-regulation? And how did you feel during this interview?
Okay, well, it was a pleasure to be here with you, Franco. As I told you, you can count on me professionally. We as a teachers, I think, or I have an idea that we have to cooperate with each other because we are not like individual guys working on their own projects. This is a big and a complex project that involves everyone, and not only teachers. It involves also families, relatives, friends. Yes,
Mhm,
and this never stops. We as human beings, we never stop learning. Yes,
mhm,
and we have to help each other at any time. I am the guy, or I'm that kind of guy that always thinks like that kind of philosophy. Let's say that. And about self-regulation and self-motivation, okay, my last thoughts is that it is something difficult to work on it, but not impossible. We can do our best, and maybe we cannot get the results that we were waiting for. But when you see that from 50 students, only one student like received that kind of perception or that kind of message that we were trying to transmit, we are happy and we can say, okay, my work was done here.
exactly. Very good. Wisdom words, Mr. Gallego. I'm very happy to
Thank
count on you and your philosophy and everything that you got in mind to foster self-regulation and autonomy for our students in the northeastern part of our country. Is very significant and very promising. I really congratulate you, and certainly we need more teachers who strive to do a good job. I really thank you, sir, for this opportunity, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Franco. Merry Christmas for you too. And anytime you need me, I'm going to be here.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to stop this recording. All right.
All right, no problem.